Alrighty, we are back. It's your favorite podcast show of the week. It's Location Weekly. It's episode number 545, and we are recording live on December the 1st. Yes, it is now December. NORAD has started their Santa tracker today for all the kids and, well, parents too, I guess. Yeah, so, winter is upon us almost. So, how are you, Brianna?
I'm good. It's crazy how fast this year has flown by in some ways, right? But yes, it is. We had some flurries yesterday here in New York. My kids were very excited to see that, being from Atlanta, they wanted to like go out and play. I'm like, there's nothing to play in. It's not sticking. It's just some flurries. But I'm good. We had a good Thanksgiving and, the holiday season is here. I wish I could say the shopping was done, but, still just getting started a bit. But yeah, things are good. And like a lot of people here already, it's what, day 4, I think, of Hanukkah today for them. So, it's just a busy time for everybody and work. But hanging in there and happy to be here talking to you about this
Yeah,
stuff.
and it's same here. It's like it's kind of up and down right now. Like it's one day it's quite warm and mild, and the next day it's kind of just drops to that zero freezing level, and you get like a little bit of flurries. Like we had on the weekend, we had a centimeter or two of snow, but it's all gone. It's all green again right now. So yeah, it'll be like that for a while, I'm sure. But anyhow,
It'll
well.
come. It'll come.
Yeah, it'll come. It'll come. All right. Well, we have a good show for you. 4 stories as usual that we want to cover. Some acquisitions, some interesting campaigns, some maybe not so interesting technology. We'll see. But I'll let Abriana kick us off.
All right. So this is an acquisition announcement, but Life 360, I know we've probably talked about them on the show before, really, location-based tracking safety platform. They are acquiring Tile, and I know Tile well because I feel like I need Tile for everything that I do in my life. On my husband's wallet and our keys and, my phone, like everything, except you need your phone to use the Tile and find it. So it's that little, tile that you can attach to everything and find it. So they're acquiring them, obviously very synonymous and kind of what their positioning is in the market and what they're going after. And so they are going to just kind of merge all of this to be this leading location solutions, helping people find people, pets, things, all of those items that we value. So they are valued currently at 205 million, and they're expected to close in Q1 of next year. So they're saying that they are thinking as of now that the CEO will remain on board and their team will stay intact from Tile. But this is what they're saying is that this is going to really create the only vertically positioned an integrated cross-platform solution of scale that can enable families to do all of these different things. So bringing together like the software, the finding capabilities, and one unified platform. So definitely makes a lot of sense here, and having some global expansion as well is a big plus. So Tiles made their way into over about 27,000 brick and mortar locations, and now Life 360 will be able to expand that. They both have very significant user bases, right? So they have paid subscriptions that are happening all the time. And this acquisition is expected to increase that by, they're saying 45%, so to around 1.6 million people. I'm surprised it's that small, but I do expect that it would grow significantly. I think, we always have a need for this, and we have seen other non like location focused companies get into this. I know Samsung has a Tile actually just bought for my kids so I could put it on their backpacks, right? And then Apple came out with their kind of a coin type of a Tile as well. So this isn't going anywhere. There's the need to track things all the time, and so this acquisition makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, expecting bigger things to come from those two merging in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good move from an ecosystem play. For Life 360. I mean, it's interesting to see. a company like them that has been around for a while, early days of the LBMA when we started, 10, 11 years ago now, they were already at it. They were more sort of in the cellular based kind of services of tracking, find my friends, that type of find my family member, share your location type of stuff, and working with a lot of the mobile operators to do that. And, still, like that's still a relevant service to this day, right? In terms of knowing where your family members are and things like that. But I think, moving more into the hardware based tracking of devices or items or backpacks or whatever it is, I think makes a lot of sense. And I think the one thing that was kind of surprising to me is, Tile is like one of those, probably from a brand recognition perspective, the most sort of recognized one, right? Out there. And I was a bit surprised when I was kind of, reading the story to see that they were only valued at 205 million or whatever. I was sort of like expecting it to be more than that. But, I think it's interesting nonetheless. And I think it adds a lot to that ecosystem play. And, Life 360 previously, I guess, earlier in the year or late last year, I don't remember it now, also acquired GyroBit, which was a similar type of tracking device, more focused on pets. So your dog or cat's collars and those kinds of things. So they're really kind of, if you think about it as a portfolio play now, really sort of expanding that from your friends and family to your items that you carry around with you that you need to keep track of, whether that's your keys or your backpacks or whatever, and your pets. So it's a full-on family safety experience, and I really like where they're going with the portfolio play. So makes sense.
Sure.
All right, on to our second story now. So we're going to jump across the ocean here to the Netherlands. We're Albert Heijn, which is the largest grocery chain over there, about 1,000+ stores, is doing some interesting things using location data. So they've been teaming up with JC.co on digital out of home in the Netherlands and doing some programmatic ad targeting. But the way that they're doing this and the data that's informing this, I think, is what's interesting. So, they've got like many groceries stores that we talk about on this show, whether it's Kroger or others here in North America, they do a good job of sort of understanding their customers and their shopping habits and looking at the purchase data and things like that. And they kind of break their customer base down into sort of three groups, sort of like their top tier customers, and then sort of a secondary and tertiary, group of customers. And what they've found over the years is that in the summer months, a lot of their sort of top tier customers are, take extended holidays abroad. They're not around. So, they wanted to find a way to sort of target those secondary and tertiary customer bases of theirs, sort of make up for that loss during that time period. And so, they're able to analyze that. They're able to kind of use mobile location data to figure out where these cohorts, were hanging out, or where, what neighborhoods they were in, and what digital signage screens that they were coming in contact with, and then be able to deliver ads, on those screens that were relevant, showing information about the local offers and the local store and things like that. And then also sort of playing off of, you see it on the big screen, and then sort of tying in a mobile location based ad, that's proximity based at the same time. So you sort of get that double impact, and it worked. So just to pull out some numbers, they saw that two things. First is from a research perspective, they drew on a study from a company called Outsmart that said that audiences are 17% more likely to take actions from an online ad if they've already seen an out-of-home placement about it. So I think that's an interesting and telling stat right there. That you get an ad on your phone. Yes, it's interesting. Maybe you click on it, but if you've already sort of that's already in your mind because you walk by a digital screen or a billboard that was talking about the same thing, then the impact is going to be so much greater. In terms of numbers, though, the campaign worked. So what they found is that they saw a 26% footfall uplift in activating those secondary and tertiary customers to visit Albert Heijn stores compared to whatever control group that they had. And they found that there was a 30% uplift of new customers from the target group as well. So I think, like those are big numbers, right? And I think first of all, just attracting a whole new customer base for any retailer or any brand is a tough thing to do. So seeing that they were able to do that, and then at the same time tap into sort of those occasional or secondary, tertiary shoppers that they already had, and kind of bring them back in based on those offers in this time period when their top customers were traveling or not there, I think is really good. So I think it speaks to that idea of just blended media campaigns and using location data to measure them and the effectiveness it can have. Any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think this is the way that you effectively do digital out of home or cross device campaigns, right? I love the data that's backing this up. You know that I'm kind of a geek about that, and making sure that everything is truly measurable, and there is attribution that can be tracked. And I love that they came out with those KPIs that you mentioned, right? That they said these are the three main goals, and these are the three different kind of segments that we're trying to reach. And then that they were able to actually do that. It's wonderful whenever you see all those pieces come together. And I think it also speaks to the power of frequency, right? How many times you're exposed to certain advertising in through different mediums, the efficacy that it can have. So not just digital out of home on its own, but looking at it as part of an overarching campaign strategy. So how do you blend that with your, TV, CTV placements, as well as just, digital and online video and mobile. So I think that this is like a really great, this is kind of the ideal use case here. And I like those numbers that they're seeing as well too, right? Those are some high impact.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go over to Vietnam and look at a campaign that Mondelez did recently. So they are working with AI, partnering with a couple of different companies, including, from the computer side of things, like computer vision startup. There's a company called DID that did more of the AI and machine learning efforts here. And then Publicis and Digitas Vietnam agencies were doing this. So this was on behalf of their Kindu mooncake brand. Obviously, there are different festivals that are happening right now in that part of the world. It's currently the Mid-Autumn Moon Festival, or just passed. And they developed this website where consumers could bring to life previous festivals through photography. So they could take a personalized greeting, upload a photo, and then have like this live portrait sort of thing where it looked like somebody was smiling, or just kind of brought older pictures from the moon, the Moon Festival to life. And then you had the capability of sharing that image on social media. So I saw one of the examples that they gave. You could kind of stitch things together, like moving faces and all of that. So, it's what I liked about the campaign is that they were trying to be creative and do something where you recognize the past and bring it into the future. And I think that the ability to obviously share that organically on social media is a powerful thing. What I didn't see, though, was anything related to the actual Kindu mooncake. So I don't know where that piece was, but, that was my question. It's like, well, I think that all of the, interesting pieces of a fun campaign like this with this type of technology were there, apart from the fact that like the brand needs to be front and center in some way, shape, or form. So, interesting. Again, how does it actually, lead to revenue dollars? Maybe this is more of a brand recognition type of a play, I think. But nothing groundbreaking in my opinion, but it's okay. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not super excited about this campaign. I think the one thing I like about it is, they tried to sort of tap into the pandemic and family and the past, and it's difficult to get together. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of challenges, that are keeping people apart, and so I think the sort of notion of trying to tap into past festivals and celebrations and those kinds of things. Maybe when you can't gather, for real right now, and kind of creating those moments or stitching those together digitally. I like the notion of that. But I think, to me, it's, there's more that can be done here. I almost like, it seems like a lot of effort to me to do something where, I can't even think of the name of the platform. Like there's this platform that it's got like little dancing people, and then you can put heads of your photos of whatever on it, and then they do a little video of it. I forgot what it's called now, but it's kind of like, that's what it reminds me of, right? Like there's this service you can go to and basically just swap in the heads on these little dancing people and
Jab.
well, jib jab, that's it, jib jab, yeah. So like I think, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm with you. I think like where's the push for the product that they're trying to market here? And maybe it's not about that. Maybe it is just truly about, trying to create those connections and the brands in the background. And if that's the case, then good job. But I would like to have seen some sort of activation, around this where it could drive some purchase or traffic to store or something more. Beyond that sort of one piece there. So I like that they're experimenting. I like that they're trying new tech, but I'm kind of wah on that one. Anyway, all right. Last story. We're going to talk about a company called WaitTime. We've talked about these guys before. They're out of Detroit. They kind of cut their teeth and built their business on the sports industry, where they're able to kind of use computer vision technology and AI to understand traffic flow patterns in a building. And so what they're doing is they're using the computer visions to calculate, okay, what is the wait time, as their name implies, for, the bathroom at gate 32. How long would I have to wait if I left my seat right now, get up from the seventh inning here to go, and if it's, going to be 20 minutes, do I want to actually get up right then? And miss whatever's happening, those kinds of things. So that's kind of the use case of what WaitTime, was designed for and has succeeded in delivering solutions around that, and that information being relayed to the big digital screens within the venues and things like that. They've announced a new partnership, so they've teamed up with Cisco and Intel, and are going after shopping malls now. And they've got a pilot, a project going on with Mall of America and American Dream, and they're sort of trying to bring this technology into the shopping mall environment. And I thought about this, and obviously Mall of America is a member of the LBMA, and we've done we've had them speak at our conferences, and they're always very progressive and forward thinking and trying and piloting new technologies. So I see this as very much the same thing. I think for me, the challenge I have with this particular one is that there are a lot of different technologies and different approaches out there to understand traffic flow patterns and density within a shopping mall environment. Obviously Wi-Fi technologies, Bluetooth technologies, camera analytics, on and on and on, right? And I think not just Mall of America, but many big retailers, many other shopping malls around the world have been playing around with these technologies for a decade. So what I struggle with here is what sort of new values does this bring to a shopping mall, and to me as a patron visiting the mall, or to a tenant that might be operating in the mall, because wait times in a shopping mall environment make less sense to me than they do in a stadium where I'm worried about I'm going to miss something, right? I could see this in an airport, for example, where you want to know which security gate has the longest lines or things like that. That makes sense to me. But applying this to there's 3 checkouts at the Gap store, and which one is like, no, like that's not like to me, I can just walk in and see, right? Like it's not something that's so necessary. So I struggle with this one as a use case. And I think the only sort of value I can ascribe to it at this point is if there's COVID ramps up again and we end up with capacity restrictions and things like that, then potentially there's a use case here in terms of communicating that out externally, on digital signage outside of the mall or on the buildings or things like that, or parking lots or those types of things. But within, I'm not so sure. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I think you like hit the nail on the head when you said I could see this for TSA wait times. Like that to me is exactly what I want to see. Is I want to know before I leave my house, like how soon do I need to get there? Is it going to be a breeze, or do I need to get there 2 hours early? Because in Atlanta, you just don't, you just didn't know. Here, I've had pretty good luck so far. The few times I've flown in and out of LaGuardia, but yeah, that's what you really want to know is like, how long is it going to take me to kind of do this again? The shopping mall, I mean, I can see understanding like wait times, perhaps in terms of holiday shopping, or what's the best times to go based on like aggregated data throughout the day, or just doing it hour by hour. Like when do these stores tend to have the highest wait times? That could be potentially beneficial, and I could plan my trip around that. But let's be realistic, and how many people are taking the time to do all that planning prior to going to the mall? They're really just writing down their list and understanding like who they have to get things for. So again, yes, I agree with you. I think this one kind of falls a little bit flat. I'm not sure how much value this provides to the shoppers or the stores.
Yeah, it also seems counterproductive to me, because if and this is just me, I've never been a mall operator, or been in the operations side of running a shopping mall, but I would speculate to say that one of their prime objectives would be to attract people to the mall and keep them there as long as possible, like creating experiences to make it an enjoyable time, right? Not get you in and out as fast as possible, right? I mean, that's just what I'm thinking, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, completely. You're
So,
not home.
anyhow, so that's our show for this week. 4 stories, some good, some maybe not so good, in there this week. But we thank you for listening and watching. This has been episode number 545 of Location Weekly. And please reach out if you have story ideas or thoughts or feedback. We love to hear those things. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.